Hi, my name is Ashley Downing, and I'm going to be doing my persuasion speech today. I have Will, Joey, my mom, and my dad that are watching today. All right, so for my speech, I'm going to be talking about the removal of cursive, and this is a question of policy that I'm going to be addressing here. So, what is cursive? Is it a language, a code, a form of writing? While some of us have grown up learning the principles of cursive and how to write in cursive, it seems that our younger generations are not able to write or understand it. Going out to eat and paying, signing off on a package, verifying information, signing important paperwork, filling out forms at the doctor's office, and completing school field trip forms are all examples of when we must use cursive. Cursive seems to be a necessary skill to have, knowing how many things we must use it for, right? Then why has it been removed from hundreds of schools across our country? Children are no longer able to sign their own name or understand any language that is written in cursive. It is especially concerning that the curriculum taught for cursive has been removed from schools when it is a necessary technique to have all of your life. The removal of cursive is a problem facing our younger generation, and it must be addressed. In my speech today, I'm going to outline the definition of cursive and its importance. I'm also going to talk about solutions to solve the lack of cursive in our teaching and also in our schools. And finally, I'm going to talk about the benefits of implementing cursive into the curriculum in our schools. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show a video today that is going to describe what cursive is.
Letter. It's true. Handwriting is a dying art. Back in my day, we didn't just have to write our papers, we had to write them in cursive. But thanks to computers, that is now a thing of the past. So many schools are just dropping it altogether. But what exactly does this mean for the future of our children?
Potentially a lot. Scientists are now discovering that learning cursive is an important tool for cognitive development because it teaches the brain functional specialization. That's what allows your brain to integrate things like sensation, movement, and thinking in the most efficient way possible.
Brain imaging studies show that writing in cursive, unlike typing, activates multiple areas of the brain at once and is especially good for fine motor coordination. It also helps develop good thinking skills. Research finds that writing letters in a meaningful context instead of just copying or tracing them produces even more robust activity in both hemispheres of the brain.
I bet you're pretty good at tracing, huh?
I've never heard that before.
I'm sorry.
Never heard that.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. Learning how to write by hand is one of the best things a kid can do for their brain. There was actually a study done at Indiana University last year where psychologists took a group of pre-literate 5-year-old kids and had them perform various tasks related to reading and writing while undergoing a brain scan. Turns out the kids who practiced writing, even if it was in print and not cursive, displayed significantly more neural activity than kids who were simply looking at letters.
That's right.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to go back here to this. Okay. All right, so that video pretty much just gave an overall description of what cursive is and how it's really beneficial. So, the Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines cursive as a style or printed letter resembling handwriting. The first thing, as I said, I'm going to discuss is the definition of cursive and also the importance of cursive. Cursive is a style of writing used to this day and throughout history on some of the most important documents in the United States, such as the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. Cursive is a style of writing that is not only used for writing purposes, but it can also be used to leave your mark with your own signature. When you sign a paper on the dotted line that says signature, this requires you to use cursive, not simply just printing your name. According to NPR News, it is a fact that in 2010, the U.S. government officially removed cursive from the required Common Core standards for K-12 education. So the ability to read and write cursive has been fading from American society. As a current high school senior, I can recall having the opportunity to learn how to do cursive and practicing how to write the entire alphabet in cursive in my 2nd grade class. I'm able to sign my own name, and I'm able to read those complicated birthday cards that I get from my grandma. While I have learned about this, my younger siblings did not have the opportunity to do this. They aren't able to read cursive, and they simply are not able to just sign their name on a piece of paper since they were never taught how to do it. Cursive is a part of history, as I said, and it is not something the school system should just take away. It's important for this to continue and to be implemented into school curriculum before it completely disappears. Okay, so the next point that I will be addressing in my speech is the solution to the lack of cursive and how we can change this throughout the United States. The disappearance of cursive in our school systems is a problem that must be addressed, as I said. According to an article written by Leanna Lois, in a recent interview, Sue Pimentel, one of the lead writers of the English Language Arts Standards, explained that the decision was about priorities and that learning to use technology took preference over cursive. In today's society, we are adapting to a constantly changing world of technology. The Common Core standards are also adapting to this, influencing them to remove cursive from our curriculum. In a technological world, we no longer need to use cursive and can use simple print. What would have been just a few lessons to teach cursive has been completely removed because it's seen as not as important as our technological world around us. Yet, cursive is still present and is still used every single day. The removal of cursive can easily be solved by placing it back into schools in a different style. Some argue that cursive takes up time in the classroom that could be spent learning more important things. I disagree with this. For this reason, I would propose that cursive is implemented outside of the classroom. Instead of students learning cursive in a class, they will be required to complete a course between their 2nd and their 4th grade year of school. This will allow them to learn the importance of cursive and also learn how to use it without learning it directly in the classroom and saving time in the classroom for other topics. It will also not force teachers to make time to teach it in school. Another solution I would like to offer is implementing cursive work into daily activities. This can be as simple as taking a workbook home, or it could be something like doing a school project or doing little homework assignments in class that aren't necessarily requiring the teachers to teach it in class. Cursive work can also be placed in, as I said, a textbook. I already mentioned that, but this will give students an opportunity to practice this daily and see the format of cursive. Teaching cursive in schools will not cost money or require extensive teaching, but people no longer see it as a need since we're adapting to a technological world. The solutions that I presented in this speech are attainable and easy, if others are willing to put the work in to achieve them. While our world is continuing to adapt to social media and to new technological strategies, this does not mean that we have to completely remove something that is used every single day. So, with that being said, the final point of my presentation that I'm going to address are the benefits of cursive and how these are implementing cursive back into our schools is going to benefit students. So, after offering all these solutions and defining what cursive is, you may be wondering why cursive is so beneficial and why it's critical to a child's education. According to the National Education Association, cursive trains the brain to learn functional specialization, improves memory, and improves motor skills. Cursive works to challenge students and to learn a new form of writing. So with that being said, cursive is something that can really help a student to improve on multiple skills in multiple areas and will ultimately help them with several topics that they will go about learning in their schooling. The flow of the letters and the words engage students in a new pattern and help them learn the movement of a new form of writing. As I said before, some argue that cursive has been thrown onto the back burner, only used really on our birthday cards from our grandparents, and not something that we necessarily need to learn. What they fail to understand, though, is that cursive is required for almost any legal document you will ever sign. It may seem that it is only a personal preference of writing, but it is required for several things that you will do throughout your life. According to the Optometry Center for Vision Therapy, practice writing by hand helps train the brain to integrate various forms of information at once, including visual and tactile inputs, while applying fine motor skills. Dr. Clem suggests cursive can provide similar benefits to the brain as learning to play a musical instrument. I thought that was really interesting, how cursive is kind of similar to learning how to play a musical instrument because of the pattern that you're writing your hand in. And I think that's another great example of why cursive is super beneficial and it can help students in multiple areas such as music. While others may claim that cursive is not a necessary skill that needs to be taught in the classroom, it has a very positive effect on the learning and development of children. And while it might not be a need, it is something that a lot of people use and that is continued to be used to this day, and it's part of our history and it should be implemented into the classrooms. And it teaches necessary skills to children at a young age and requires them to ask questions and to learn. And while people might not see it as something that is necessary in the classroom, it is something that students do need to learn, and that it's part of our history, and we should continue to teach it. Our school systems are continuing to remove important curriculum, and I just wanted to conclude by addressing how our world is changing and how cursive is just one of the many examples. So our school systems are changing our curriculum, and they're changing many aspects of it through our grading skills and also how we take tests. Schools today are focusing more on technology and no longer worrying about the traditional ways of writing and teaching. This is partly because of COVID-19 and because of the way technology is being built nowadays, and now we're just discarding things such as cursive. Another example that shows how our school system is focusing more on technology is the change in taking the ACT, and I have personally experienced this as of last year. Instead of taking the ACT on paper, what our schools have done is recommended that we take it online. And personally, as someone who has learned to write on paper and has learned tips and tricks that I can do for the ACT on paper, this has been a change that has negatively affected me. And I think that this is just one of the examples of how our curriculum is changing and how our schools are continuing to change things that aren't necessarily leaving a positive impact on students. And as I said before, our world is advancing, but that doesn't mean that we have to remove things because it is advancing. And that's why cursive is so important, and we need to keep it implemented into our schools because it's part of our history. So through my explanation of the definition of cursive, the importance of cursive, the solutions I've offered about cursive, and also the benefits of cursive, I believe that cursive should be added back into the school curriculum, and I ask that all of you watching, my audience, and all those out there will consider working to implement this back in our schools. Thank you.